Let me introduce to you the Misfits. This is a great team made up of guys that just don't fit the regular mold. Now, we all know players who, you know, have been at some point in their careers being told you're too small, you're too this, you're whatever. Well, these guys have always been told this. And even though they may not fit the average idea of a player in their position, they're still very good at what they do. And let me introduce to you the Misfits, position by position, and we start with, of course, maybe the most important player on the field. So let's start with the quarterback position, maybe the most important position on the field. Now, you know, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, all those guys were small and told they may be too small to play the position at the pro level. Too small to see over the offensive line. Well, let me tell you something about Thanatos Antonopoulos. That will not be a problem for him because he's 7 foot tall. Only weighs 160 pounds. He's a lanky, lean guy, but he can play quarterback. He's got a big arm. He can move. His parents are Greek. He's definitely not weak, and he will look to lead this team week after week. So after the quarterback, let's move on to the first of one of our 2 running backs, the 1-2 punch. We start with JR Jr. You may remember him from the East-West College Bowl. He played there.
JR Juniors. Junior. Texas Christian University.
And this guy is big for a running back. He resembles Derrick Henry, 6'3", 250 pounds. And he, of course, with that size, is our receiving back. He's very fast, but very weak. He's got low strength, but is good at receiving. He's not going to be able to run between the tackles, but he's going to get there on the perimeter and catch that ball. And to support him, we've got James. And James is our power back. He's got strength. He's a little bit slower. And at 5'6", 185 pounds, he's going to be hitting in between the tackles and getting those tough yards. We've got Antonipo Denzelius, our fullback. Now, he is big. He's 6'8". 247 pounds, and he's a great blocker. Now, you may think that, okay, 6'8's a little bit tall, but he doesn't really sound like he's not much of a fullback. You see, well, his thing is he's deathly afraid of contact. He wears absolutely the maximum amount of padding possible. He's an incredibly good player. He does everything well, but he's just incredibly afraid that he will injure himself. So that's the run game. What have we got in the passing game? This is a man a lot of people call the White Randy Moss. It's Mandy Ross, and he is so physically identical to Randy Moss, it's unbelievable. Same height, right around the same weight. He's got the hands, he's got the route running, he's got the jumping ability. The only problem with him is he's incredibly slow for a wide receiver, and that's where he definitely does not resemble Randy Moss. Then our number 2 guy, it's Cuatro Cinco. Now, he's actually number 43, but he changed his name in college when he was number 45, and well, you know, he followed that Ocho Cinco thing, but it didn't really work out for him when he entered the pro leagues, and the 45 wasn't available to him. He's 5'6", 195 pounds. He's got good speed, good hands. You may think that makes him the perfect slot receiver. Well, you'd be wrong because he's got absolutely terrible short route running. Then we've got Sung-Ki Wang, our Korean import. He's fast, he's got decent hands. His only problem is he cannot run a route to save his life. Absolutely terrible route running. So, kind of decent, but really also very useless at the same time. Then we've got our deep threat, Raj Deep. He's got 98 speed and acceleration. He can absolutely fly, but he cannot run a route. He cannot catch to save his life. He's basically entirely useless, but he's an incredibly fast player, and you never know, maybe one day he'll catch one deep ball, and it'll be worth having him on the team. Then we've got a player, you may know his cousin. We've got Julius Jones, the cousin of Julio Jones. Physically identical, the same size, just as an imposing stature. The problem is, whereas Julio Jones does everything well, Julius Jones just does absolutely nothing well. He's completely bog standard average. And our final receiver, Lido Beckham II, who just does nothing well either. He, you know, just fills up the roster spot. But moving on to tight end, let me introduce to you one of the biggest men you will ever see, apart from if you look at some of the other guys on this team, but 6'9", 285 pounds. He's not slow, he's got good hands, he's pretty much just a very solid tight end. Bob Gronkowski is our number 1 tight end. Behind him is Adrian Peterson. Now, Adrian Peterson is that guy in the team. He turns up, he's 6'11", but he also only weighs 177 pounds. Now, he's not got the size to play line, defensive or offensive, and he's also not very fast. He's got okay hands because he's huge, so they're big and they can catch most things. But he's, you know, you kind of put him at tight end because where else is he going to go? Not good enough at blocking to be a lineman, not fast enough to do anything else. You put him in at tight end, and then finally behind him we've got Hector from Troy, he's just good at blocking. But then finally moving on to the offensive line, and we start with Peter Ennis. He's 311 pounds, a very solid blocker. His only problem is he's 5'5". Not really stereotypical size, but he's technically sound. He's got good weight and actually does a decent job. Then we've got Mo Lester, our left guard. 319 pounds, isn't as small as Peter Ennis. He's actually 5'10", but again, not great size. And then we move on to the center for Ben Dover, and he has got good size. He's 6'2", which is a lot better. Unfortunately, he only weighs 220 pounds. Let me introduce to you, however, you may know his brother, Jared Goff. We've got his brother here, Jack Goff, and they're basically identical. Jack Goff is 6'4", 200 pounds. However, he's not very good at tossing the ball, so he's gonna be a lineman because, well, actually, that's not really, you know, that's not a direct route between not being able to throw the ball and being a lineman, but hey, give me a break, he's good at the position. And then finally, our right tackle resembles basically every low-level European team's right tackle. He's the fattest guy you can find. He's 6 foot, 388 pounds, looks more like a soccer ball than a football player, but he's not bad either. He's a bit slow. Okay, he's very slow because he's very fat, but, you know, that's technically it's your power position, so you put the fat guy there. Your left tackle's a little bit more athletic. You want to have slightly more athletic guys at the guard position so they can pull. Just put your fatso at right tackle, and that's who we've got there. I feel like that sounds a little bit mean. We like Richard Champion. You know, we like him a lot. We call him by his nickname, Dick. So that's our offense. Let's move on to the defense, and we'll start with right end. Right end plays left end for us. He's 5'6", 252 pounds, a rookie out of Arizona. Not too bad. He's, you know, just decent. Now let's not waste time here. Let's move on to the position we all really care about. It's BJ Weiner. He's still here. He's still kicking around. He's the exact same player you know, except for rather than playing quarterback, because he really wanted to wear the number 69, he moved on to defense and he now plays end. So instead of being a world's best quarterback, he's now the world's best quarterback hunter. But let's move on to the defensive tackle position. We've got Deron. Stop it. He's 6'10". Does only weigh 252 pounds, which is actually quite slender for a 6'10" guy, but he is not bad whatsoever. He'll plug that gap, no problem. And behind him, we've got his friend, He'll Be Big. Now, this guy has been shoehorned into being a defensive lineman his entire life by his family. They always expected that he'll be big, but he actually only grew to be 5'8". However, he has worked on every other part that he can work on. He's 384 pounds. He got his weight up. He's incredibly strong. He's worked on everything he can work on. The only problem is that he's 5'8". Now, I should say, for some reason, it's set in a 3-4 here, but we will be playing more 4-3 than anything else. And our left outside linebacker is Julie Mann, 6'9", 251 pounds. He's a big hitter. Then in the middle linebacker position, we've got another thumper. It's Elijah Elijahson. He is a true big hit guy, but he is also only 5'7", 250 pounds. He'll knock your block off, but also, you know, you might be able to jump over the top of him. And our final linebacker is Lewis Raymond, number 52, a great player, 6'5", 320 pounds, and I bet you'll be able to guess who his favorite player is. That's right, it's Luke Kuechly. And then onto cornerback, and here is our number one guy, Jordan Michaels. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, good speed, good coverage, just a good cornerback. But you know, he's white. But then we have Colonel Sanders, who's 6'5", 185 pounds. Great coverage stats, he's fast. He will lock down opposition players, but he also literally can't catch the ball. He's terrible. So just good at covering people, probably break up a lot of passes, but don't expect him to get any interceptions. And now let's move on to our nickelback. It's Chad Kroger, just, you know, an average guy there. He's normal size, just a good solid nickelback. He's got good speed, he's got decent coverage, he'll sort that out. And then we move on to our fourth string guy, is Vinny Cousins, who is fast but just bog standard at coverage. But apart from that, not bad. And then we've got Niasu Bolt. He may be the fastest man in the world. He's got 99 speed, 99 acceleration. Incredible, incredible athlete. but also just completely terrible at cornerback. He can't play the position to save his life, but he's really fast, which may help him there. Then our free safety, Mighty Mouse Jones, MD. We got a doctor on the field. He's 5'6", 207 pounds, just a solid player. And behind him, if we need a backup, it's Lil Dime, part-time rapper, full-time ball hawk. He's good in coverage, he's pretty fast, not a bad guy to have in that position. And then finally, our strong safety. It's Vincent Brimbles, 6'5", 250 pounds. Comes out of the UK from Tiffin University. Okay, Tiffin's not in the UK, but he comes from the UK. And you know how it works over there is you kind of get given some pads. They don't really fit well. They're about 8 years old at the absolute best when you get him. So his pads are a little oversized, and just wait till you see what his helmet looks like. He's been given just, you know, hand-me-downs after hand-me-downs, just rental equipment. But he's a good player. That's why he's in the NFL. He's 6'5", he'll hit hard. Great strong safety to have. Very happy to have him on the team. Then we'll move on to special teams, where we have our kicker, Right Foot. Well, we think that's his name. We asked him what he's called, and he just replied, Right Foot. He's 6'6", 313 pounds, didn't go to college, but he's a heck of a kicker, and he'll make a difference on this team. And then our punter is Barbara Streisand. And those are the Misfits. I cannot wait to get playing with these guys. Well, I say get playing with these guys. I cannot wait to watch these guys play. And now let's talk about the coach, Matt Patricia. Now, nothing against him as a person and in real life, but, you know, his model in the game looks like a cave troll. And to be honest, when you compare him to all the other head coaches, he looks like a bit of a misfit anyway. So he'll be leading this team from the sidelines. These are the Misfits. They'll be looking to take the league by storm, and I'm sure they can because, in all honesty, they may look weird, but they're very talented.